Chosen one, listen carefully, because what you're feeling right now is not random. If this message has reached you today, understand, God is positioning you. Yes, something is shifting around you, even if you can't see it yet. Doors that were once shut are becoming loose. Paths that looked impossible are quietly rearranging. This is not luck. This is placement. God is moving you into the exact spot where your miracle will appear. The delay you felt wasn't punishment. It was alignment. The things you lost were not failures. They were replacements. God removed what couldn't walk with you so He could send what was meant for you. Right now, heaven is preparing a miracle with your name on it, and all you have to do is stay open and stay ready. So don't scroll away. This message is not a coincidence. God is positioning you for a divine miracle, and it is closer than you think. Before you dive deeper, do 3 things to align with this blessing. First, like this video. Second, comment below, I am ready for my miracle. And finally, subscribe to send your signal to the universe. Your life is quietly being rearranged behind the scenes. Chosen one, when God starts preparing you for a miracle, the first thing that happens is not loud, dramatic, or obvious. It's subtle. It's quiet. It's almost invisible. Your life begins to shift in small ways that most people wouldn't even notice, but you can feel it deeply. You start sensing that something about your daily routine doesn't feel the same anymore. The places you used to enjoy start feeling heavy. The conversations you once tolerated now feel empty. Even the people you were close to may start acting differently. This is not a coincidence. This is God rearranging your life piece by piece. Sometimes you'll see certain people slowly distance themselves. They may not fight with you or disappear suddenly, but their energy just doesn't match yours anymore. This can feel confusing or even painful, but spiritually, it's a sign that God is clearing your path. Not everyone can walk into the miracle waiting for you. Some people are meant to be part of your story, but not part of your destiny. So God gently moves them aside so they don't interfere with what He's preparing for you. You're not losing people. You're making space for the right ones. At the same time, notice how new faces start showing up. A stranger might help you unexpectedly. Someone might motivate you out of nowhere. You may receive guidance or information that answers a question you've had for months. These are not random events. They are divine placements. God sends exactly the right people at exactly the right time to push you toward the direction you are meant to go. You might even feel drawn to take steps you avoided before, starting something new, letting go of old habits, or changing environments. This inner push is God aligning your spirit with your next chapter. And then there are moments when you feel like certain doors that were once wide open are suddenly closing. Maybe an opportunity ends, a job stops feeling right, or a plan you trusted falls apart. Instead of seeing this as a setback, understand the spiritual meaning. God closes doors not to punish you, but to redirect you. Sometimes you are too comfortable in a situation that will limit your future miracle, so God removes it before it blocks your blessing. He sees what you cannot see yet, and He knows what environment your miracle needs in order to grow. Even your inner world begins to change. The things you kept accepting for years suddenly feel too heavy to carry. You start becoming aware of attitudes, habits, or thought patterns that are no longer serving you. This inner discomfort is not negativity, it's spiritual growth. You are shedding your old skin, preparing to step into a version of yourself that is strong enough and wise enough to receive the miracle coming your way. Everything may seem confusing right now, but it's not confusion. It's divine organization. God is placing you in the exact position where your miracle will find you. He is preparing you, clearing your path, guiding your steps, and aligning your heart. Nothing happening in your life right now is random. It's all part of a bigger plan, one that is quietly setting the stage for the blessing that has your name on it. Your spirit feels restless because something big is coming. Chosen one, sometimes the biggest sign that God is getting ready to shift your life is not something you see, it's something you feel. It starts quietly inside you. You can't explain it to anyone because you don't even fully understand it yourself. You're not stressed, you're not scared, and you're not confused. But there is a deep restlessness in your spirit. It's like an inner vibration, a soft pull, a gentle voice inside saying, "Get ready. Change is coming." This restlessness is not a problem. It's preparation. When God is about to move you into a new chapter, He won't let you stay comfortable in the old one. You may notice that things you once enjoyed don't feel the same anymore. Activities, friendships, routines, and habits that used to keep you satisfied now feel empty or repetitive. It's not because something is wrong with you. It's because your soul is outgrowing that level. Your spirit knows that what's coming is bigger than what you're leaving behind. So it starts nudging you, gently pushing you toward the unknown. This restlessness also shows up as a craving for change. You may feel a sudden desire to improve yourself, to start something new, to break a pattern, or to step out of your comfort zone. You might wake up one day and realize you can't keep living the same way anymore. You may not know exactly where you're going, but you know you cannot stay where you are. That pull is spiritual alignment. God is preparing your heart for a blessing your mind doesn't yet understand. Sometimes this restlessness makes you feel disconnected from certain people, not because you dislike them, but because your spirit is rising to a higher level, and their energy doesn't match where God is taking you. You may feel less talkative, less social, or less involved in things you once gave your full attention to. That's because God is quietly separating you from distractions, noise, and old patterns that could hold you back from your breakthrough. You may also feel like your dreams and goals are becoming clearer. A new idea might come to you out of nowhere. A plan you ignored earlier suddenly feels important. A direction you never considered before now feels right. This is divine guidance. Restlessness often appears when God is planting seeds of your future inside your mind. Even if you don't act immediately, the idea stays with you. It keeps returning, reminding you that something new is waiting for you. Most importantly, this restlessness is a sign of spiritual awakening. Your intuition becomes sharper. Your awareness becomes stronger. You begin to sense things before they happen. It's like your soul is picking up signals from the spiritual realm before your physical life catches up. When God is positioning you for something big, He gives you spiritual alerts so you don't miss the moment. So don't fear this restlessness. Honor it. It is the universe's way of preparing you. It means your breakthrough is closer than you think. Something big is shifting in your favor, and your spirit can feel it long before your life starts showing it. This inner stirring is not random. It is the first announcement of the miracle that's coming toward you. Delays are not punishment. They are strategic protection. Chosen one. One of the hardest things to understand in life is why things take so long. You pray, you try, you hope, you work, and still, nothing seems to move as quickly as you want. It's easy to think God is ignoring you or holding you back, but the truth is the opposite. Every delay you faced was a form of protection. God wasn't saying no. He was saying, not yet, not like this, not with those people, not in that environment. He saw every hidden detail you couldn't see. Think about it this way. If a blessing comes too early, it can turn into a burden. You might not be ready emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, or the people around you might not have the right intentions, or the situation might not be stable enough to support your blessing. You may think you are prepared, but God knows the whole picture. He knows who would have betrayed you, who would have used you, and who would have celebrated you only on the outside, while secretly wishing for your downfall. So instead of letting you step into a danger zone, He slowed everything down. Sometimes God even closes doors you desperately wanted to enter because He sees the traps behind them. A delay might have saved you from heartbreak, financial loss, unnecessary drama, or the wrong partnership. You don't know how many silent battles God was fighting for you while you were complaining about timing. What you called waiting was actually God's strategic protection. You were not stuck. You were being shielded. God wasn't punishing you. He was preparing you. Your life needed to reach the right level before your blessing could arrive. Your mindset had to grow. Your confidence had to rebuild. Your heart had to heal. Your faith had to mature. And your spirit had to learn how to stand strong. If God gave you everything at the wrong time, it would slip through your fingers. But when He gives it at the appointed time, no one can block it. Delays also help you recognize real value. When you wait for something, you appreciate it more, respect it more, and protect it more. You don't take it for granted. You don't let others damage it. Instead, you handle it with wisdom because the journey shaped you. The delay made you stronger, clearer, and wiser. The truth is, God's timing is not slow. It's precise. He has a perfect moment for everything in your life. A moment when the right people will show up, the right opportunities will appear, and the right doors will open. And when that moment arrives, everything will make sense. You will look back and realize, if God had given me this earlier, I would have lost it. So the next time life feels slow, remind yourself, this isn't a denial. It's divine strategy. God is arranging the best version of your miracle, one that will last, one that will bring peace, and one that will elevate you without harming you. Your delay was never a stop. It was simply God protecting you while preparing the perfect blessing with your name on it. Unexpected clarity is hitting your mind and heart. Chosen one. One of the clearest signs that God is getting ready to shift your life is when your mind and heart suddenly begin to clear up. Things you tolerated for years now look different. Situations that once confused you now feel obvious. People you trusted blindly are starting to reveal who they really are. This sharpness you're feeling is not random. It's spiritual clarity. God is removing the fog from your vision because your next chapter needs a clear mind and a steady heart. You may notice that certain conversations hit you differently now. Words that never bothered you suddenly feel heavy. Behaviors you ignored before now look disrespectful. Promises people made start to sound empty. That's because God is exposing reality to you. He doesn't want you walking into your miracle with blind trust or false hope. He wants your spirit awake, your eyes open, and your judgment strong. When God gives clarity, it's always for protection and direction. This clarity also shows up in small moments, like when you're quiet, or thinking, or simply going about your day. Suddenly, something clicks. A question that bothered you for months suddenly makes sense. A pattern you kept repeating becomes clear. A decision you avoided becomes obvious. You don't have to force understanding. It arrives naturally. That's God whispering answers into your heart. Sometimes clarity comes through silence. When God wants to speak to you clearly, He often reduces the noise around you. You may feel like you don't want to talk as much, go out as much, or entertain unnecessary conversations. That's because your spirit is becoming more sensitive, more aware, and more aligned with your future. Silence becomes a tool for revelation. In the quiet, God reveals truths you couldn't see when life was too noisy. You may also start seeing connections between events. Why certain things didn't work out. Why certain people left. Why certain doors closed. What once felt like bad luck or pain now begins to look like protection. Your past starts to make sense in a way it never did before. This is God preparing your mind so you don't enter your next season with confusion or emotional baggage. And then comes heart clarity. You begin to feel what is right for you and what is not. You feel drawn towards certain paths and repelled from others, even if you can't explain why. That is not overthinking. That is intuition strengthened by God. Your heart becomes more honest with you. It tells you which connections drain you, which goals excite you, which energies match yours, and which ones don't. This is spiritual alignment at work. Clarity is also a sign that a major decision is coming soon. God would never bring you to a new door while your mind is clouded. He clears your thoughts before He reveals your next opportunity. He sharpens your perception so you recognize the right path when it appears. The understanding you're receiving right now is training for the moment when God presents you with something big, something meant only for you. This clarity is not ordinary. It is preparation. God is getting you ready for a blessing that requires wisdom, awareness, and strength. He is making sure that when the right door opens, you don't hesitate, you don't doubt, and you don't choose the wrong path. You walk through it boldly because your eyes finally see the truth. You are losing things that were secretly holding you back. Chosen one of the biggest signs that God is preparing you for a miracle is when you start losing things you thought you needed. At first, it may feel like everything is falling apart. People distancing themselves, friendships fading, opportunities slipping away, plans collapsing for no clear reason. But spiritually, this is not destruction. This is divine cleaning. God never removes anything without a purpose. And every time something leaves your life unexpectedly, it is because it was blocking a blessing you prayed for. Sometimes, the things holding you back don't look negative at all. They might be comfortable habits, familiar routines, or people you cared about. But comfort doesn't always mean growth. Just because something felt stable doesn't mean it was good for your spirit. Some friendships were draining your energy quietly. Some habits were limiting your potential slowly. Some plans you held onto were too small for the future God is preparing. So God, in His wisdom, begins to strip away everything that keeps you stuck in the same place. Losing people can be the hardest part. You may wonder why someone suddenly pulled away, why the bond feels different, or why communication faded. But God hears conversations you never heard and sees intentions you never saw. He knows whose presence would distract you, discourage you, or delay your growth. Instead of letting you waste years in the wrong company, He removes them gently, sometimes painfully, but always purposefully. And then there are the internal losses, losing old mindsets, old fears, old versions of yourself. You may find that you're no longer interested in things you used to enjoy. You may feel distant from your old identity. This is a sign that your spirit is outgrowing the life you once lived. God is stretching you into a higher version of yourself, and that growth requires letting go of who you were yesterday. Losing plans can also shake you. Maybe something you worked hard for didn't happen. Maybe a dream you carried for years fell apart. It's easy to feel disappointed, but sometimes God has to break your plans so He can build His own. And His are always bigger, safer, and more fulfilling. A closed path is not rejection, it's redirection. Loss also creates space, and this is the part we often forget. Miracles cannot land in crowded, cluttered, overwhelmed places. God has to make room first. When He removes people, He is preparing to send better ones. When He breaks old patterns, He is making room for new growth. When He takes away what is draining you, He is clearing space for something that will strengthen you. So don't see your losses as endings. See them as preparation. You didn't lose anything that belonged to your future, only what was blocking it. God is preparing a miracle that requires free hands, an open heart, and emotional space. Your spirit is being lightened so you can rise higher. What left your life was not a mistake. It was the weight you were never meant to carry into your next chapter. Help and opportunities are coming from unusual places. Chosen one of the most beautiful signs that God is preparing a miracle for you is when help begins to appear from places you never even looked toward. Suddenly, people you barely know start supporting you more than the ones you counted on. Advice comes from unexpected voices. Doors open in directions you never planned to walk. This is not luck. This is divine orchestration. God doesn't always use the obvious paths to bless you. He often uses strange, surprising, and unpredictable routes so that when the miracle arrives, you know it came only from Him. You may notice that a random conversation with someone you just met gives you more clarity than people you've known for years. A stranger's words may encourage you in a moment when you are losing hope. Even a simple online message or a short interaction might shift your entire thinking. This is how God works, quietly, subtly, but powerfully. He sends the right person at the right time with the right message. They may not stay in your life forever, but they appear at the precise moment you need guidance. Sometimes God uses opportunities that look small at first. Maybe someone invites you to something simple, gives you a small task, or offers you a chance that doesn't look big on the surface. But that tiny door can lead to a huge shift. What begins as something minor can grow into something life-changing. God tests your willingness to take the first step, and once you do, He expands your path. A small seed becomes a big tree. A small opportunity becomes a breakthrough. What's even more surprising is that help may come from people you never thought would notice you. Someone who never spoke to you before suddenly wants to support you. Someone who saw your potential quietly recommends you. Someone who barely knows your story feels drawn to guide you. These moments may feel random, but spiritually, they are signs that heaven is moving on your behalf. God is touching hearts, inspiring minds, and influencing people to lift you higher. And sometimes, the help comes from completely unexpected directions. You may find favor in a new environment, a new community, or a new connection. You might receive an idea out of nowhere that solves a problem you've been stuck on for months. You may stumble upon information or resources without even searching. This is divine alignment, moments when God places blessings in your path that you didn't earn, didn't chase, and didn't even expect. This unusual help is also a sign that God does not need big names or powerful people to bless you. He can use anyone, even someone with no connection to your life. Why? Because He wants you to recognize His hand in the miracle. If the blessing came from people you expected, you might give them the credit. But when it comes from the unexpected, you can't deny that it was God's doing. So if your life is suddenly attracting unexpected support, if opportunities are coming from surprising directions, if random moments are guiding your steps, understand this clearly. Your miracle is getting closer. Heaven is moving people, situations, and resources into your path. What you thought was coincidence is actually divine strategy. God is preparing your blessing, and He's using the most unusual roads to bring it straight to your doorstep. Your faith is becoming stronger than your fear. Chosen one of the clearest signs that God is preparing you for a miracle is when your fear slowly begins to lose its power over you. You may still feel the familiar nervousness. You may still have moments where your mind wonders, what if things don't work out? But deep inside, something new is growing, something steady, something strong. It's a quiet inner voice that refuses to let you quit. It's the whisper that says, keep walking. You're closer than you think. Fear used to lead your decisions. It used to tell you when to stop, when to pause, and when to shrink yourself. But now, it feels weaker. The worries that once controlled your entire day no longer feel as loud. The doubts that used to drain your energy now pass through your mind without staying. This shift isn't coming from your own strength. It's coming from God. When He prepares you for a miracle, the first thing He strengthens is not your life, but your spirit. You'll notice this change in small moments. For example, you might face a situation that once terrified you, a difficult conversation, a new opportunity, or a step outside your comfort zone. But instead of panicking, you feel a surprising sense of calm. It's not that you're fearless, it's that your faith has grown bigger than your fear. You trust more. You believe more. You feel that something good is coming, even if you can't see it yet. This inner strength also shows up when life feels uncertain. Before, uncertainty made you anxious. Now it feels like an invitation to move forward. You no longer see challenges as signs to stop. You see them as steps you're meant to climb. That shift in perspective is spiritual maturity. God allows certain situations to stretch your courage so that when the blessing arrives, you are not overwhelmed by it. You are ready for it. Your heart is changing too. You may find yourself becoming more hopeful. You think about the future with less fear and more faith. You're starting to believe that good things are actually possible for you. You're no longer talking yourself out of opportunities. Instead, you're telling yourself, why not me? Why not now? That shift is divine. God is transforming your mindset so that your miracle has a strong foundation to land on. Even your body feels the change. The heaviness that fear once created in your chest or stomach is being replaced with lightness. You might wake up with renewed motivation or a quiet sense of purpose. You might feel more grounded, more stable, more confident, not because everything around you has changed, but because you have changed on the inside. Fear doesn't completely disappear, but now it stands in front of a person who is no longer easily shaken. The fear may whisper, but your faith speaks louder, and that is the moment you should recognize a breakthrough is near. God is strengthening you right in time because the blessing ahead requires courage, responsibility, and belief. Your spirit knows something big is approaching, and that is why your inner strength is rising. This is not ordinary confidence. This is divine preparation. God is shaping you into someone who can carry the miracle without breaking under pressure. Your fear is fading because your destiny is calling, and your faith is finally ready to answer. Your name is being mentioned in rooms you haven't entered yet. Chosen one. Right now, at this very moment, your name is traveling farther than you think. There are conversations happening behind closed doors, decisions being made in quiet corners, and thoughts forming in people's minds that you don't even know about yet. You may feel unnoticed or forgotten at times, but spiritually, the opposite is happening. God is placing your name exactly where it needs to be. He is using people as instruments to speak about you, remember you, recommend you, and carry your name into places your feet haven't stepped into. You might be sitting at home wondering why life feels so still, but behind the scenes, God is moving your destiny forward through connections you can't see. Someone may be talking about your talent without you knowing. Someone might be impressed by your growth and silently mentioning you to others. Someone you haven't met yet is already aware of you, already curious about you, already planning to reach out to you. This is not coincidence. This is divine networking. God is preparing the path before you arrive. You don't always get to see these moments in real time, but you feel the effect eventually. Suddenly, you receive an opportunity that seems to come out of nowhere. A person you barely interacted with reaches out with something helpful. A new door opens and you wonder, how did they even know about me? That is the power of God whispering your name into the right hearts. When God decides it's time to elevate you, He plants your name where it needs to be, even in rooms you've never been inside, among people you've never met. This is also why He removed the wrong people from your life earlier. Their voices weren't meant to carry your name. God wanted people who would speak of you with honesty, respect, and sincerity, not jealousy, not doubt, not negativity. The individuals He places in your journey now are people who will lift you, not limit you. People who will open doors, not close them. People who will see your worth even before the world does. And here's the beautiful part. Some of the biggest blessings in your life will come through someone who isn't even close to you. A person who simply feels led to think of you, talk about you, or connect you to something bigger. God often uses unfamiliar voices to create familiar miracles. He does this so you know the blessing came from Him, not from someone who expected credit. You may also notice that people who once ignored you are now watching you closely. They see your growth, your change, your strength. They talk about how different you look, how focused you've become, how much you've evolved. They might not tell you directly, but your name is on their lips. Your glow is speaking louder than your words. This invisible movement is proof that destiny is shifting in your favor. God is positioning you long before you arrive. He is preparing rooms, building connections, and opening pathways that match your calling. So don't worry about visibility. Your name is already working for you in places you haven't touched yet. Your blessing might be coming through someone who has already remembered you, without even knowing why. Your soul feels peaceful even when life looks uncertain. Chosen one of the most powerful signs that God is preparing a miracle for you is when your soul carries peace that makes no sense at all. Everything around you might look unpredictable. Your plans may seem blurry, and your future may feel like a puzzle with missing pieces. Yet deep inside, there is a calm voice saying, "I will be okay." That calmness is not ordinary. It's not something you forced or pretended. It is divine. It is God whispering reassurance before your blessing arrives. This kind of peace doesn't come from your situation. It comes from your spirit. You may wake up in the morning and still have problems to solve, responsibilities to handle, and challenges to face. But somehow, the heaviness that used to crush you isn't there anymore. You don't break down like you used to. You don't get shaken the way you once did. This is because God has entered your heart before He enters your circumstances. Your soul receives the miracle before your life begins to show it. This peaceful feeling also makes you notice how differently you react to things now. Situations that once triggered you no longer pull you down. People who used to disturb your energy don't have the same effect on you. Even when life throws confusion your way, your spirit stays steady, like an anchor planted deep in the ground. That is God strengthening your inner world so that when the external world shifts, you don't lose yourself. You may also realize that the storm outside doesn't match the calm inside, and that contrast is divine confirmation. God often quiets your heart before He calms your environment. He gives you emotional stability before He gives you physical blessings. Why? Because peace is preparation. Peace is alignment. Peace is the proof that your spirit is already stepping into the next chapter, even if your eyes cannot see it yet. Sometimes this peace feels almost mysterious. You might ask yourself, how am I still standing? How am I so calm when everything is uncertain? That is the Holy Spirit comforting you. God gives this supernatural peace, so you don't lose hope right before your breakthrough.